So today we'll be taking a look at a scenario where Caspia lost the Central Asian War in AdizzPro's Wicso in episode 21. Now in the historical timeline, Caspia had won this war thanks to mostly Tibet, which helped them to defeat the brown country and the yellow country in here. But what if that never happened? Well, in this video we'll be taking a look at a scenario in which Caspia had lost this war together with Tibet and all of their other allies. So let's waste no time and get straight into this video. First of all, this war will pretty much begin the same way as it did in the historical timeline of AdizzPro's Wicso, and Caspia will immediately start to advance over here into their brown counterpart, which formed after the Caspian Civil War. In episode 18 and over in here, we'll see Caspia have at first a lot of success, pushing the brown country and starting to threaten their capital. But that's until the brown country actually rejuvenates their armies, gets them ready, and immediately starts to push Caspia over in here, even around the capital area, even if not as successful. And now we will see that their country over in here, their neighbor, will go ahead and also start their invasion into Caspia, and they are immediately way more successful. These guys are more barbaric, so their first instinct is to immediately form a spearhead towards the Caspian capital. This goes pretty dang well, but you know, Caspia is gonna have some slight, I guess you could call it plot armor, other would like call it luck, but they'll be able to push the brown country over in here, but the brown country will not let themselves lose this war, so they will still push around here through the Caspian parts and use these advancements over in here to also fully kick out the Caspians out of their nation. And now Caspia is starting to get into quite a bit of trouble, as now we see the brown country starting to advance over here through their territory, and this is pretty bad for Caspia as they are starting to collapse. Caspia will now go ahead and in an attempt to save their nation, they will push the brown country over in here, but now we will see that the brown country will get a tiny bit of an ally up here in the north, being none other than the yellow nation. The Yellow Nation is actually one of the biggest and the strongest Caspian nations over in here that formed after the Civil War of Caspia in episode 18. So because of this, Yellow Caspia will immediately go ahead and start biting Caspia over in here, and Caspia is really lost. They are losing a ton of land, and it seems like this is gonna be the end of their nation once and for all over in here, as now they get pushed through these lands. And now both the yellow Caspians and the brown Caspians are now gonna rejuvenate and are gonna start to form a spearhead over here to the Caspian capital, but that's until Caspia will finally get an ally of theirs. This ally will be none other than the blue Caspians over in here. Now the blue Caspians aren't really strong, in fact they are pretty weak, but they will use the confusion from this war and kind of their Central Asian hatred to start invading the yellow Caspians over in here, taking big advantage of the fact that their armies weren't really stationed here to push against blue Kazakhstan, and this will hurt them a lot, as this country will be able to push a lot in the very first weeks of this war until the leader of yellow Caspia gets informed that his nation is getting attacked, and then the storm will begin. We will immediately see the yellow Caspians starting to push back the blue Caspians over in here, and definitely joining this war was far from their smartest move, as they get heavily pushed back over into here. They lose this northern part of their occupation, and immediately they are gonna get pushed around here through the rest, and they will also lose the southern parts of their occupation, and immediately the Caspians, the yellow Caspians, will get to pushing into their territory, and the blue country is not doing well, but their advancements will also be stalled after a couple weeks of fighting over in here, because some stuff is not going very well for them over here in the south. And this is Caspia using the fact that the blue Caspians have distracted the yellow Caspia to push them back over into here, And also they will pretty much do the same over into the blue, into like the brown Caspians, not the blue ones. And they will manage to push their advancement over here back. And with this, they will once again attempt a push over here into their territory, and they will get again very close to their capital. But of course, because Caspia can have nice things in their lives, we will see these guys pushing back, and now with this, Caspia will be once again pushed away. Now thankfully we'll see the green Caspians being able to completely push back the yellow Caspians out of their nation, and now they will kind of get encouraged to start to push into their territory. The main reason why they want to do this is because their capital isn't really that far away, so they'll be trying to take it. First of all, they take this territory back, which was gonna become the Caspian microstate of a very long time later, and get very close to the yellow capital over in here, and they will actually manage to take it, granted for a very short amount of time, because then the guard over in here will come and they will be able to push Caspia back. But what they will not be able to do is to push Caspia back over into these other territories, as Caspia is having a pretty nice day over into here, taking back the territories that were once theirs, and seeming like with this they will be able to defeat the yellow Caspian Empire over into here, and even take this little panhandle in here, which will kind of be used as a way for them to push over into this country over into here, into the brown country, and from here yet again push them back and start to push through their territory. Now finally it's here that we will see Caspia finally managing to defeat them, until they are yet again gonna lose, as the brown Caspians push them back over into here. They will kind of be done with Caspia, they just want to take them out once and for all, so they will start the final advancement over here, going through these parts for Caspia to not take their capital, and start to make a spearhead over in here, and also encourage the yellow Caspians to do the same. So we will see the yellow Caspians going ahead through here and take back their territories in here. Granted, this will lead to them losing a ton of land over here, with the blue country in here taking this back, and also taking a lot more into here. They don't really take everything back, but they take almost everything back, so pretty much equally good. And now we will see the yellow Caspians also starting a spearhead of their own, and it seems like here finally Caspia is gonna die once and for all. Now with the second spearhead forming towards their capital, with the yellow coming in the north and the brown coming over here in the south, getting very close, but then we will see another unexpected guest joining this war. As now we will see Tibet joining this war on the side of Green Caspia, and now they will immediately start to advance into the territory of Brown Caspia. Again, it's kind of a similar situation to the real timeline, where they totally decimate the Brown Caspians as they're heavily pushing through their territory over into here. But the brown country still has an advantage over the green Caspians, and this is gonna be the fact that they are already very close to their capital. So when the king gets alarmed that Tibet is invading, they will decide to hurry their armies and also give this memo to the yellow Caspians, and we will finally have the brown Caspians managing to take the capital of Green Caspia. And this is some very bad news for Green Caspia, as now also the yellow Caspians come through here and cut Green Caspia into two parts. And as if it couldn't get any worse, we'll now see that the yellow Caspians will fully take out here the advancement of the green Caspians over into here, and yet again start to push through their territory, and Green Caspia is now officially on the collapse. And although Tibet will still be successful in pushing against Brown Caspia, their advancements are starting to stall out because of the big amount of mountains over here around Afghanistan, which is gonna block Tibet from pushing further. and this is gonna buy the Caspian countries in here a very wealthy amount of time to take out Green Caspia, as we see this northern portion getting split between the yellow Caspians and the brown Caspians. And over in here they will yet again start to push over in here, as pretty much the Caspian government fell into anarchy. They are pretty useless right now and their army isn't really functioning well, so because of this they will kind of go and occupy whatever territories they can. And also now the brown Caspians will come from here and start to take as much land as possible. Their advancements are way slower as they have a very nice friend over in here which kind of isn't doing well with them, but they will also send a bit of armies over in here to deal with them, considering that Caspia is pretty much done for. And because of this, we'll now see the final split of Caspia taking place, as now we will see the yellow Caspians coming through here, take these territories, and for the rest we'll see the brown Caspians coming through here. They will take these lands away, and finally for this couple rest of territories. With the final battles happening in here, we'll see the brown Caspians coming through here, and on this day Caspia will officially fall over to the brown Caspians, and with this the green team has lost and ended. Now this war turns into a 2v2, as now we will see the brown country only having Tibet to worry about and the yellow Caspians having only the blue country to worry about. First of all, the yellow Caspians will immediately come ahead and they will eat as much as they can out of the blue Kazakhstan country, as they are very weak, and after they just defeated Caspia, their army has a huge morale boost, which is what allows them to go through here, cut the blue country into two and force this northern portion of them into surrender, while they go over here through the central parts of their country, which also has their capital and all that. They will pretty much go through here, they will snag the capital of the blue country, and after a couple more weeks of fighting, with kind of more militias popping around through their country, their government will also fall into anarchy in a similar way as Caspia did, and eventually we will see the entire nation falling over to the yellow Caspian country. And for the final battle, yellow Caspia and brown Caspia versus Tibet, the battle of the ages. And when the armies of yellow Caspia arrive in here, we'll have some very fierce battles happening over in here, but mainly the brown Caspians will be able to push the Tibetans back around here, and this is where the true stalemate will happen, as we have a lot of back and forth fighting with both of these sides starting to push into the territory of the other. The other makes a push in here, then we see them having a push in here, but slowly but surely we'll see the brown Caspians starting to take the big advantage over Tibet. They push even more through here, and finally they manage to fully push Tibet out. And in the final weeks of this war, we will see that the brown Caspians, with the help of the yellow Caspians, will start a tiny advancement over in Tibet, and they will push through this Tibetan province very close to the Tibetan capital. And when they get to here, in order for Tibet to not lose their capital, they'll decide to surrender over to brown Caspia. And with this, Tibet and green Caspia have lost this war, and the yellow Caspians and the brown Caspians have won. So now we can take a look at this very big peace treaty. This is the peace treaty. It's a pretty big one, and now going over it very quickly. First of all, we see that the blue Kazakhstan country gets fully annexed by yellow Caspia, and over here to green Caspia, they no longer exist. They are now an extinct country, and we see kind of the northern and western portions of their country getting taken by the yellow Caspians, and over here to the southern and eastern territories of their country, these get taken by brown Caspia. And finally over here, Tibet loses one province, being the one that was conquered during the war, to the brown Caspians. And that does it for this scenario on what if Green Caspia lost the Central Asian War in AdizzPro's Wicso in episode 21, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.